I'm okay. I'm okay. But that's a lot.
Here, let me help you. Medical. We've got one wounded at my location. Millie.
Oh, man.
We'll see you at sickbay.
Status report.
The repair crew made it inside. EPS flow is back to nominal levels. The SIF is back up.
How does this affect mission readiness, Mr. Ermot?
Releasing the docking clamps using hull polarity minimized damage to the Resolute. We'll have some last-minute repairs to make, but if we reapportion some of the staff, we can make our departure on time. As of now, however, we are successfully moored to the station.
Good to hear. Send updates to my ready room. Commander Rydek, with me. You disobeyed my orders. Well?
Respectfully, Captain, I made the right choice given the information
You
I had.
disobeyed my orders! And not just in front of the bridge crew, but the Starbase staff as well. That's going to get around. My name's already tarnished around the fleet. But what is it going to do to my credibility on this ship? From the top to the bottom. Bridge to lower decks.
I told you I'd be honest. But I also owe you more respect as captain of this ship. And I'll do better, living up to that.
I expect as much from you. You might have won some fans on the bridge with that stunt, but not everyone. Lieutenant Commander Chovak has already bent my ear.
I'm sure he doesn't take it personally. He'll get over it in time.
Mr. Chovak is more complicated than he would want to admit. I guess we all are. And, if I'm being honest, I'm not sure what I would have done in the moment either. You never really know if you weren't in those shoes. So, let's just boil it down to, you did what you had to. That'll have to be good enough for me.
You placed a lot of trust in me, bringing me here. I feel like I've let you down.
I brought you here for a reason. I'm still sure it was the right one. Despite it all, we got our final Starfleet clearance to depart. So if you'll fetch Mr. Ermot, we'll knock out the final details of any outstanding repairs, and we'll set out for Hotari.
Yes, sir. All departments reporting full mission readiness. We've got our full complement on board.
This is my favorite moment, right now.
The start of a new mission is always full of possibility.
The Orion Syndicate could sell it as a drug.
Don't let the Admiralty hear you say that.
Captain on the bridge.
Sit. Sit, everyone. You all know, I'm not big on speeches. We're embarking on the first mission since our refit. Let's make it a good one. Disengage docking clamps.
Docking clamps released.
Thrusters ahead, Mr. Handar. do it. Set a course for the Hotari system. Prepare to go to Warp 8.
Aye, Captain.
You know what? You take this one.
Me? Helm. Make way.
Make way.
It's a sailing term.
I know that.
Easy. Thank you. I'm fine. Really,
You don't look so good.
I have to get to sickbay.
Go.
Commander, help me get her inside!
Well, that was quite a scare. A few minutes more and it would have been one of the shortest tenures on record for a first officer.
Is that the engineer that was out on the hull?
That storm did a real number on her, but she'll live. Just needs rest. You should worry about yourself. Your deridium levels got dangerously low and destabilized your cell structure.
This is definitely one of the more memorable first days I can think of.
My name is Dr. Aram Duval, Chief Medical Officer. To be honest, I've never met a Kobliad before. You're...
Rare. I know.
I was going to say special. Your people's numbers have dwindled, despite the Federation's efforts to find a more readily available alternative to the deridium you need to survive. Yet you joined Starfleet, and managed to thrive. I imagine the responsibility must be overwhelming. Maybe even a burden at times.
I know what it means. And I know the responsibility that comes with it. But I can't be anything more than who I am. And if someone has a problem with that, or expects something else, then that's their problem, not mine.
That's exactly right. And don't worry, I won't treat you like a science experiment. I just do the science and leave the experiments to Solano.
You don't agree with his methods?
I don't agree with his definition of acceptable risks. Not when the lives of your crew are at stake. My professional opinion is that the accident took a toll. More than he's willing to admit. He's overstressed, operating in the pressure cooker of his own mind. Which is never a good headspace when the lives of your crew are at stake. What concerns me is that now he's even further away from the thing he's been chasing his entire career. Breakthrough discovery. A major innovation. Something he can put his name on.
We all have to chase our dreams, don't we? We need to take some risks. Isn't that why we joined Starfleet?
But not at the expense of other people's lives. It's too high a price to pay. And I have to give you credit for what happened on the bridge. It took guts to defy a direct order.
Huh. I guess word travels fast around here.
It's a small ship. And everyone's curious about the new XO. Fortunately, your cell structure is almost completely stabilized. And I'll spare us both the lecture, but I do feel it's my responsibility to remind you, without regular infusions of deridium, you will not live. It's as simple as that.
Understood.
Then, my work here is done.
Lieutenant Bedrosian.
I came to see if you were okay. We were all pretty worried on the bridge. No one knew what was happening.
I don't want anyone to worry. This is just part of who I am. It doesn't define me.
Of course. I completely understand. And I would probably feel the same way if I were you. You trusted me earlier with the shields, and I appreciated that. I want you to know that I have your back.
Thank you.
Complete the diagnostic sequence, and this shuttle will be cleared for service.
Yes, sir.
The storm in the Hotari region will interfere with our transporters, so we need all available shuttlecraft in working order.
Excuse me, Commander Trobot.
Petty Officer Maris, I will leave you to your work.
I stopped by sickbay and saw Nilly. I figured you'd want to know.
Did the doc get her fixed up?
She's stable. There's something about the storm's radiation that's making it hard to heal the energy burns.
That doesn't sound good.
She's toughing it out. Dr. Duval said she'll be back on duty soon, though.
Come on. I have to run the final diagnostic.
I can't stay long. I've got a long to-do list before we get to Hotari, and things are piling on faster than I can check them off. We're making all our last-minute checks and security, too.
Well, nothing's ever 100%, but we'll be good to go.
And if you wait until you are ready, it's probably too late. Which is why I didn't want to wait for just the right time. I had a chance to think about this while I was away. Then you and Nilly almost got killed out on the hull. And I thought it was important that I just come out and tell you. Instead of tiptoeing around it. Or worse.
Now, this is just a guess, but you like me. Is that what this is?
How'd you know? Must have been pretty obvious. Which is funny because kinda came out of nowhere for me at first.
You didn't exactly hide it.
I wasn't exactly trying to hide it. But since it's that obvious, we've been really good friends for a long time. I want to see if there's more between us than just being friends.
This is all kind of unexpected.
I didn't expect this either. But here we are. And I didn't want to ignore it. I just figured I'd steer right into it. Well, what do you think? I've been about as direct as I can stomach. You can do that too.
I like you too, Miranda. Let's see where this goes.
Okay. I was really hoping you'd say that.
These are uncharted territories.
I'd call it a chemistry experiment. You know, with us.
We can take it slow. It's not a 5-year mission or anything, but we've got plenty of time together.
Well, let's not drag our feet on it.
Level 1 diagnostic complete.
I have to get back to that to-do list. They're probably looking for me.
Can't blame them.
I'll be seeing you.
Approaching the rendezvous point outside Atari space.
Helm, bring us out of warp.
Dropping to impulse.
Ionic interference surging, Captain. Shield integrity holding.
We can take it.
We are at the correct coordinates to meet the shuttle.
Commander Rydek, find us our diplomat, if you will.
Aye, Captain. Let's reduce the noise. Filter out environmental signals. I can manually tune what's left for Federation signal types. I've located the shuttle.
Opening comms.
On screen.
Shuttle to Resolute. Shuttle to Resolute. Debris field. Lost maneuvering. Losing.
I can't get it any clearer. It won't get a transporter lock. It's just not happening.
Power up the tractor beam. We'll pull them directly into the docking bay.
Diaz, you good to run the tractor emitter?
Yes, sir.
Come on, Diaz. First thing, lock onto the shuttle and stabilize the rotation. We're pulling in debris.
I'm on it. That's gonna take out the shuttle. Diaz, the bridge. There's a large piece of debris headed for the shuttle. The tractor beam can't handle it.
Can our shields take it?
I believe so.
Commander Rydek, plot an intercept course.
On it. Here we go. Maneuvering thrusters bearing 53 Mark 17. 200 meters on an intercept course.
Maneuvering.
Got it.
Whoa!
Someone's working hard on the bridge. We got the shuttlecraft on board.
Good job. We're on our way down to meet them.
Terra firma, so to speak.
Ambassador Spock. The captain will be right down to meet you, sir.
In that case, I will wait for him here.
Well, let me be the first to say, welcome to the Resolute, Ambassador.
Thank you, Petty Officer...
Carter? Carter Diaz. Sir.
I am pleased to meet you, Petty Officer Carter Diaz. It appears I have you to thank for my safe arrival. Your assistance arrived not a moment too soon, if I may say so.
All in a day's work, Ambassador. This is what I'm here for.
quite dutifully. We thought we were prepared for our arrival in Hotari space, but it is evident my craft was not sufficiently robust for such intense ionic activity.
The storm has been pretty intense.
There was an element that was most unusual. Before you came to our aid, our maneuvering thrusters and impulse engines were rendered inoperable. So we attempted a short traversal at warp speed, only to find that we could not achieve warp at all, even though our diagnostics computer showed no faults or anomalies. What do you make of that? When all indications say that warp speed is possible, but in practice, we find it is not.
Well, this storm is one of the strangest phenomena we've ever encountered. It's disrupted other systems. Who knows what it might do to a warp drive?
Yes, it would seem further investigation is called for.
We'll take readings, run some additional diagnostic checks, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Quite logical, Petty Officer Diaz. Thank you.
Ambassador Spock,
Excuse me.
I'm honored to have you aboard. I'd like to get right to it. We're already behind. Ambassador Spock, my senior staff. It's not every day that a captain gets to welcome a Starfleet legend aboard.
You flatter me, Captain Solano. But legend implies the past tense, whereas I am very much focused on our present circumstances.
I didn't mean to suggest you were stuck in the past. You're right, Ambassador. Not the most diplomatic choice of words.
Your experience comes from the past. But our present situation calls for it.
True enough.
We were hoping you could fill us in on the details. We got the basics from Starfleet. Two formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war.
Indeed, and the tension between them grows fiercer by the hour. Ilidia and Hotari. The Ilidians are the more advanced species. They made first contact with the Hotari over a century ago. This is Tau, the Hotari moon. It is rich in dilithium, and for decades, the Hotari and the Ilidians have shared a mining operation there. The Ilidians provide the technological resources, while the Hotari have served as the labor force. The stability of that arrangement was the source of their peace, until recently. The Hotari have suddenly and forcefully seized control of the mining operations and expelled the Ilidians from their system. That is the official story, as told by the Hotari when they requested Federation mediation. But the details remain scant. Communications between all parties have been limited by the ionic interference.
What are the Hotari defensive capabilities? Do they stand a chance to hold on to the mines now that they've taken them?
It is unlikely the relatively primitive Hotari forces would prevail against the Ilidian fleet in open war. But it would have been equally unlikely to predict they could take possession of the mines until they did just that, which leaves many unanswered questions. Left unchecked, this conflict will result in more bloodshed, which is what we are here to prevent.
And the dilithium trade hangs in the balance.
Clearly, the Hotari have been exploited in this relationship.
Maybe we can persuade them peace is the more profitable alternative for everyone. They both profited from the mines. And for the Hotari, something is better than nothing. Peace is our objective, after all.
We can call it profitable or mutually beneficial, but at the end of the day, the Hotari are still being exploited for their own resources.
True peace is not merely the absence of war. And as such, this conflict will surely come again.
Neither the Illidians or the Hotari are members of the Federation, so we can't make them do anything.
There is an additional complicating factor I should mention. In the past, the Federation has relied on the Illidians as a source of dilithium.
That certainly changes things.
Federation sources its dilithium from a lot of places.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
That means the Hotari have no reason to trust us.
I wouldn't go that far, Commander.
We are completely neutral in this matter, on neither one side nor the other. Any suggestion otherwise would compromise our position. Given the Federation's involvement in the Illidium dilithium trade, Captain Solano and I must make every effort to appear neutral in these negotiations.
What worries me is if this whole thing unravels, and we're at the mercy of the storm at less than full strength.
We can't let it come to that.
Considering what the Ion Storm has done to our ship, and the Ambassador's shuttle, we have to assume the Illidian fleet has had problems with it as well. This recent surge in the energy disturbance temporarily levels the playing field.
Commander Westbrook is correct. The energy anomalies around the Hotari systems have been noted in the past. But they have never been observed on the orders of magnitude we have seen in recent weeks.
The field isn't level. We have the backing of the entire Federation. Either of these forces would be foolish to attack us.
That's probably what the Illidians thought too.
We are here because we are up to the task at hand.
All the more reason to learn as much about the energy anomaly while we can. We do not want to be caught at a disadvantage, should the situation escalate. So I trust we understand our circumstances.
We're operating on a strict timetable here, and we're going to be leaving for the negotiations shortly. Commander Westbrook, I want you to leverage our systems to investigate the anomaly from here while we're gone.
Aye, Captain.
Thank you all.
Dismissed.
I want to speak to both of you privately.
Ambassador Spock, I'd like to make a formal introduction. My first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
Commander, as you are aware, there are limits to what Captain Solano and I can do in our official capacity as representatives of the Federation. But someone in an unofficial capacity, your first officer, for example, would not be bound by those restrictions. Commander Rydek could ingratiate herself to certain parties behind the scenes, where they may be more candid in revealing information that could lead to a resolution.
She certainly goes her own way. Maybe that helps in this case. It would be unconventional.
I'm perfectly happy to work outside the lines.
And by extension, you will be doing your duty, Commander.
Just not too far outside the lines. Well, I hope Commander Rydek will have more luck finding out what really happened than we will through official diplomatic channels.
The fate of the negotiations, the interests of the Federation, and the prospect for peace may very well depend on it.